Hello there folks, we're going to have a bit of a look at OBS in this tutorial. Why would I want to use OBS is something you might be asking yourself. Well, OBS is open broadcast software. It is primarily designed as stream control software. However, you can record locally with it, and this does have some tools that might make your life a little bit easier. So what is OBS? Well, like I say, it's streaming control software, but what does that actually mean? Well, in this piece of software, you can actually build scenes, you can control inputs and outputs, you can control levels of various pieces of equipment that will input into the system, and you can basically use it as a mini studio, essentially is what it is. So this can actually help you not only do a live performance over something like YouTube or Twitch or whatever platform you decide to use, it will also allow you to record the output locally, which will allow you to make your own videos and actually have an editing suite that can run live, which might just give you a little bit of an edge when it comes to presenting a piece of work that would normally be presented live. So we're going to have a bit of a look around OBS and see what kind of options that it offers and just familiarise ourselves with what OBS actually is. This is the Streamlabs OBS version. There is OBS Studio as well, which is a slightly more advanced, or at least kind of differently presented format, which has a lot of stuff which it can do that this can't, and some things which I find are a little bit more difficult to actually do. I tend to use Streamlabs OBS at the moment. I've been using it since I started doing streams like this of any kind of complexity, and it's done me okay so far. I'm kind of getting to the point where I'm going to be looking to move on at some point. Don't know when, but it is definitely, I'm finding the edges of what Streamlabs OBS can offer. That's a moot point at the moment. This will actually get you into a lot of the stuff that you need to have and need to know. This is a good simple package. It works really quite nicely. If there's any problems, basically, then I would be able to kind of point out where the limitations of the software are and various different workarounds. Anyway, that said, we're going to have a look around here. This is what I usually have running at the beginning of the stream, so you don't jump straight into the stream with a whole bunch of oh, is this working, is this recording, is this actually getting where it needs to go, all that kind of stuff. It gives you a little bit of grace just to be able to fix things as the stream is running. So things that you would not necessarily know are wrong until the point that it's actually up and running. So that's kind of why I do this sort of stuff. You can have anything in here. You could have like an intro to your piece, whether it be a kind of explanatory video discussing what the thing is, or whether it's just a musical interlude before you start your theatre piece or whatever it is you're actually doing. Consider having this kind of stuff. It actually makes life a lot easier. Down here is the mixer. This is, as it would suggest, this is dealing with things like microphones, desktop audio, that kind of stuff, media source, volume. Say for instance I have a piece of media that I link to this media source and I want to play it. This skull, for instance, is actually a media source, which is why this masses in this scene, but there's no audio to it, so it's not doing anything. You can switch it off from there, and you can switch them all on or off individually from this section here. So it's very useful. Just think of it as your soundboard essentially. And then going over to this side, we have these two little boxes. They're sort of linked really. In fact, they are intrinsically linked. What these are the scenes and the sources. So these scenes are basically different configurations that will allow you to do different bits and pieces, add in webcams, add in media sources, all that kind of stuff. So as you can see right now, it's on the starting soon, and that scene is made up of a chat box, which there's no chat going through it at the moment, but when the stream is running and the people in the comments are commenting, they appear on there. Use that at your own risk. Then there's the media source, which is the piece of video, which is that skull and the words. And then starting. Right. And then we go into live screen. Should be me. Hello. How are you doing? And if you're looking down at the sources, you can see that we have a chat box. I have a timer. a title, I have a second title as well. So if I take that title out, it'll change it. So I can zap that out. And you can see I can switch between the two titles. Same with the timer. I can actually just blank any of that stuff out just by hitting the little eyeball on the side there. So you can see that there's various things that you can do. The text is just added straight in via the title. So if I double click on that, a window comes up, and then I can actually go in there and change stuff. Do that. And bring that one up and take that one out. There you go. If you look, as I click on the various parts of the section, the highlight down here in the sources box changes. What does that actually equate to? Well, having a look down here, chat box. If I double click on that element, then you will see various bits and pieces sort of come up. I can choose fonts and all that kind of stuff, visual settings, font settings, chatter, so you can hide common chat bots and that kind of stuff. My channel's not really big enough to worry about that so much, although in the comment section, in the posted videos, that's a slightly different matter. But there we go. So you can change everything. You can have clear backgrounds, all that kind of stuff. A certain amount of opacity to the screen, so you can see right through. And you've got all this various different options for themes and all that kind of stuff. That's only really any good if you're doing like a live stream with a live audience, that kind of thing, and you want the text there. But this is just to show the different types of components that you can actually have within any given screen. So another example of what I use is this. Now essentially what this is it's a second monitor. I have 3 monitors set up for my particular computer setup. So not everybody's going to have 3 monitors. It's a bit excessive for most people, but as I do a lot of live streaming, that kind of stuff, it's incredibly useful. The more screen space you have, the better. That said, all this is doing is it's taking one feed from one screen, another feed from my webcam, and Chatbox is in there. So these things basically are here to help you out. So I would normally have something like Skype on this particular screen, and then down here I'd have myself, and then over here the chat, and so my guest would be on there. If I had more than one guest, I'd be rearranging. I'd be making another screen capture and just capturing a very separate part of it. Now what you can see on that, although that's a screen cap, it's at it's not actually the whole screen, right? So it's just a case of you can make these things bigger and smaller and all that kind of stuff, but you can also change things by on this thing. It's left Alt as you hold, and then you can actually select much closer down. And as you can see, with that timer that I had on the other screen, all I did was I did a screen capture and I clipped it down just to clip out the bit that is actually what I wanted. So it's very, very useful. So if you've got multiple people on your communication software, be it Skype or Teams or whatever, you can actually assign them a little section of the screen, then cut it out and then put it into this particular presentation, so you don't have to have their entire webcam feed. It does mean that you've got to be a little bit careful and a little bit clever about how you work within and around those screens, but it is entirely possible to do, as I've done on many occasions with my setup. But you can have offline cards and stuff like that as well. I have different types of feed. This is my retro consoles feed. My video card's not on at the moment, which is why this is saying no signal. If I was to switch it on, you'll see that come to life. My PS3 is a little bit noisy, but there we go. As you can see, that comes in there. And you'll be able to adjust all the different volumes and things that sort of happen coming into the system. that would be on my desktop audio, so I would have to switch that on down here, as well as I have to plumb it through another piece of software. It's really quite pretty much about how imaginative you are with the various different approaches that you want to take. There are a lot of things I do which are a little bit unorthodox to actually get my stuff to happen. If it's a case of there's software around, there's all sorts of options and ways to do these things. This piece of software is really primarily designed to bring those things together. I've got one for PC gaming as well. It's not terribly well set up. I mean, really, it should be made down here or something like that, and then that would be the chat box, and that's the game. I don't do too much game streaming, but yes. So that's a rough idea of what you can do. As you can see, you can probably end up building some very elaborate setups, should you really want it. OBS is pretty lightweight. It doesn't take all the power of your computer to run it. Obviously, different specs will allow you to do different things. Different number of screens will allow you to do different things. But there's many kind of shortcuts, things like you can cut the mouse out of the screen and stuff like that, so you don't have to see that going around. But the software will sometimes capture any interaction that the mouse does with, like, hover over and things like that. But yes, that's OBS. That is the rough idea of what OBS can do. Think about it when you come to putting together a live performance via something like Skype. It can help you rearrange and present stuff in a really good and interesting fashion. So I highly recommend that anyone who's capable of running this software grabs hold of it, has a play with it, and starts to understand it. And I will be around if anybody needs any help to try and decipher some of the stuff I've either said or some of the stuff I indeed haven't said, because there's a lot of stuff going on with this. But for now, that'll be it. See you in the next tutorial. So I thought I'd just give you a little bit of a demonstration, actually. I know I said I've ended the tutorial, but why not? We'll have a quick look around. Using OBS, you can actually combine a whole bunch of things, including all the audio feeds and stuff from various sources, including things like Skype and the likes, Teams, whatever. And because I can record different screens of stuff that's going on, I can build my own set. I've got this in Minecraft, and many of you might be able to recognise roughly what this is. It is a work in progress, so I apologise in that respect, but essentially we've got a mini Mumford, Minecraft Mumford, if you will. So you can go in there, and because you can invite other people into this, you can record their voices and all that sort of stuff, have one person acting as a camera maybe, and just have fun with it. Just a thought. There's so many things you can do with the pieces of software that are online, things that are available to you. Just let your imagination run wild and see what you can get.